So as a recipient of this P2 tender, it was granted by Slovenski podjetniški sklad, i.e. Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund, that gives those grants to startups and SMEs in Slovenia. So the grant was for 54,000 euros of non-repayable grants. And that was enough of a booster to get our company from 0 to 150,000 euros of annual revenue in 2 years. So from 2018 till the ending of the last year. And we currently manage a 10-person team. 3 of us are fully employed, and we are planning to employ another in the beginning of the next year. More about this a bit later. First, let me give you a bit of a grip about what we do. As a product, our platform is all-in-one solution for creators, for our users, our subscribers, who wish to run their own online merchandising e-commerce business without all the hassle of the developing a web shop, of daily production and other daily tasks as customer support that an e-commerce owner has to do. So we as a platform handle everything. The platform is based on a core feature that is a web shop platform for personalized web shop creation, the likes of, you maybe know, Shopify and Wix. So this is the base core feature. And around that base core feature, there is a whole complex set of tools to enable those kind of users to run their own merchandising shop. So it's not just a shop, but it's also production, distribution to the end customer, and on other tools. So our users are those with their own strategy to develop their brand through merchandising, or maybe only additionally monetizing their brand potential through alternative merchandising revenue source. For example, we are currently running a fan shop for our football champion NK Celje in Slovenia. So their main focus, their main activity is to play football, to organize games, to sell tickets. But their alternative source, they recognize it would be great to have a fan shop to sell like t-shirts, mugs, scarves, everything else from merchandising area to their fans. So this is their alternative revenue source. So we manage their web shop and everything else regarding production, regarding customer support, regarding distribution. So our subscribers, our users in their segments are quite versatile. So we have like sports individuals, sports organizations, sports clubs, then musicians, bands, currently on the rise, social media influencers with their own web shops, with their own merchandising revenue streams, festivals, events, brands in entertainment maybe, and also artists. And the thing those users have in common is that their business model and marketing strategy is fan-oriented, or as we say, they are working in a fan-based industry. So they are dependable with fans, they have a great relationship with fans, and their fans want to buy products, merchandise, just with their own brand. So it's great for them. So this is our product. So as a platform, as I said, it's all-in-one solution. It has like personalized web shops and tools. That is our core feature. Effective stock management if stock is necessary. The print-on-demand feature with personalized products and prints. Responsive technical support, and also live customer support for end customers. So end customers are customers of our user that buy the products online, and also monthly earnings payment to the account of our user. Okay. So we are a young team of professionals that is all about innovation. We those that in our innovation is kind of put into the 3 pillars of innovation. It's the wholesome approach, where we are developing a SaaS product, so software as a service. It's totally cloud-based. We are developing big data and machine learning techniques so that our user will get some insight, info about e-commerce business of theirs, how their end customers are acting. We're also using design thinking processes with innovation and we're all about global market distribution. So we are currently having customers, users from all over the world, and we are also distributing products globally all over the world. The next is validation. We are currently working with 100 users, and we are always testing and gathering feedback from them. And upon that gathered feedback, we are developing new features and also developing old features and implementing them in the new way. And of course, a long-term vision that is to have a global supplier ecosystem, to use tools of digital content marketing, and to be sustainable and have an environmentally friendly approach. Now to go to a bit of the business aspect, business finances. For you to understand, we have two segments comprised of two segments business model. So it's handling fees. We charge our user with around 15% of a handling fee plus material plus prints for each product that is sold through our platform. So for example, if there's a t-shirt or a hoodie or something like that is sold through our platform for around 30 euros plus taxes, the customer, our user, gets, for example, like 15 euros of profit, and for example, we get a 15 euros of profit. This includes materials, prints, production, plus processing fees for payment fees, and handling and customer support. And then the next segment is monthly subscription. So it's a starter 29 euros and premium 49 euros, and it depends on how many tools you wish to have in the web shop. And we also, during our bootstrapping, so building our company from the ground up, we also implemented some other alternative revenue sources, for example, working with companies to deliver them like promotional products, merchandising, t-shirts, you all know about that. Also working with companies for internal corporate web shops. So if companies want to have like their own internal little web shop for employers to order t-shirts, if they do this on a frequent basis, and also developing like a set of tools for events, festivals, to have everything they need to sell merchandise on location. So startup business finances from our aspect of view is all about four different possible sources of capital income. In our company, I'm responsible for that area, so business finances. So first is definitely bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is giving your own sources into the company and getting that first dollar on the market. So for us, it was remote workspace, working from home, and co-working places in the beginning, investing our own savings and our own equipment like computers, cars, and everything we had into the company, and also as fast as possible generating first sales that we put into the marketing and development. Then, as Andras said, public funds. As soon as we started to look into the possibilities of getting some investments or public funds. So because investor and business angel side of entrepreneurship in Slovenia is quite underdeveloped. You don't have a lot of investors. You don't have that like institutionalized or having a great system. So it's hard to get investor money or business angels. And even if you do, you have to usually give a lot more than maybe in the United States, because it's not so many of those investors out there, and they have their like own conditions. So it's great in the European Union and Slovenia to have that public funds options. So in Slovenia, this is Slovenski podjetniški sklad. As we said, it's Slovenian entrepreneurial fund that have a tender system for startups and SMEs. And also in the last year, they started a great voucher system for funds for like small amounts from up to, for example, 10,000 euros. And the process for getting those funds in that voucher system was really simple. It was meant mostly for digitalization and digital marketing. And we used all of that. We tried to apply to as many funds meant for the SMEs and startups as we could. And one of those was, as Andras said, P2. Then there are also some other possible funds to get from like other offices and agencies, like Office for Employment and local municipality support. We just inspected everything we could in the market and tried to work with everyone that was working with startups and SMEs. And then, as I said, investors, business angels, a bit underdeveloped in Slovenia. And then, of course, the best income revenue stream that every entrepreneur aspires to get to as fast as possible is dependable and steady income generating from sales. So generating enough income to be able to invest in development, marketing on the long run, because you don't tend to rely on public funds forever. So we started the company, I said, in 2017, not working a lot in that year because we were employed in the other companies. And then in 2018, we started working in Vibeit fully, and also find a way to find that Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund had that tender for, and still has that tender for P2 for startups. And that is that's a fund that's meant just for startups, so for companies that are funded in that year of the tender or a year before. So they cannot be older than a year and a half. And the money comes from EU and some from Slovenian government. It's I said Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund. The total amount of money was 54,000 euros. It's 100% financed. It's non-repayable. So we have some other funds in the same Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund that kind of are like a loan, or maybe also one is called SKS 75 that when the project ends successfully, the Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund gets some equity shares in the company. But not that one. P2 is like totally non-repayable, meant for the development and marketing of the product. It was about 20 months running. It was the reporting was in 3 consecutive years. So we started in 2018 and finished this year, somewhere in the beginning of the year. And we got the money in like 3 tranches. The first one was 10,000 euros in first year. The second one was 12,000 euros in second year. And the third one was 32,000 euros in the third year, meaning for us this year. This is a bit of a unusual system because startups tend to need the money beforehand, not after they do the activities and do the research and development. But we kind of managed to get some money from our sources to invest in that activities, and so you get funds later after everything is already done. But anyways, it was a great help for us. And as said, money is meant for employment and R&D activities, so research and development. On that project, we employed one of the co-founders and put almost everything into the research and development activities, developing the platform, also some marketing activities, testing the market and getting feedback from market, doing in the first early stage, doing the interviews with users, what they want to do, how they want us to develop the product that you would later use. So it was a great experience, and also that P2 tender has a great mentors system behind that, and we got a great mentor. It was Aljosha Domjan, the founder of one of our first e-commerce businesses in Slovenia called MA. It's one of the largest e-commerce like systems, like for example Amazon in the world is MA in Slovenia. So he was mentoring our startup and giving us great insight into our industry. So some of the conditions for that tender were to have like great financial plans when you applied, and as in all other tenders, you have to kind of show the entrepreneurial fund that you won't go bankrupt, and that you will kind of be able to develop the product and go through all of the stages, and also that you will be profitable by the year by the end of the end of the tender. So in our case, this year, so that you will get profitable. Meaning that this tender was meant for the companies to like kind of test the market, not be profitable in the first year, to really see what's out there, to test the customers and see what's best for the product. Maybe you have to like change some stuff in the second year, and have like 3 years to get profitable. Also, the tender is meant for a company to kind of push the product on the last year. It's great if you can push it in the first year out on the market, but by the third year you have to market the product. So you have a lot of time for research and development activities. That I think that's great for a company, not to be too restricted with some boundaries of from the entrepreneurial office there. So the goals of that tender were really also a bit loose in my opinion, which was also great. You have to get into that mentoring system, get a great mentor. They have like their own list, and all of those mentors are credible and are entrepreneurs and business guys with a lot of experience. And that mentor has to like give you report to the Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund that our company is doing great, is doing the research and development activities that we applied for, and kind of there's like a loop of 3 people communication, so our company, mentor, and Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund. And we reported in those 3 stages that we get the money. So first stage, 10,000 euros, a report. Second, that was in the first year. In the second year, 12,000 euros, second report with a mentor. And the third report will in the third year, in our case, this year, after 3 years. So report with the mentor, also interview with the entrepreneurial fund. Did you do all the goals? Do you have an employed member of your company? Also getting the report from the mentor if all of the research and development activities are done. He inspects the product. He inspects if it's developed okay. So it's kind of a subjective reporting style, but it's great because those mentors are credible, and Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund knows them. They wouldn't I think they wouldn't lie or wouldn't give false informations. But it's great because he can inspect our product when I think someone from Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund doesn't have enough experience to check into the products of all of different companies and see if they are doing okay or not. And also one of the goals was to, by the third year, have a prototype working, so maybe we call it MVP, minimum viable product, working for the market to put it out to start marketing activities. You have to kind of give some information about that. So that's some stuff about the P2 tender. There are some upsides and downsides to this tender. Upside, first one, definitely the biggest one, is the capital to invest into the company, into the research and development without sharing equity. So you get an investor, you have to share equity. You lose some kind of capital of your own. And in this case, this is the great upside to this tender. It's actually free. It's 100% financed, non-repayable tender. And it has a great mentorship program, great mentors, and currently simplified reporting. So as I watched my partners, my friends' companies, and also the companies that I was later working with, in the last year, they simplified the reporting. So they found out that European Union has an exemption of for tenders that are below 100,000 euros, that the reporting can be simplified, and they simplified it up to this way that you just need one employed person working on that project, and kind of a okay from a mentor. So report that is so mentor says that everything is okay. So you only need to have those 2 goals done by the reporting time, and also kind of feel some fill some backend information in the system of the Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund, and that's okay. In my case, when I was applying in 2018, this was the downside. It used to be a complicated reporting, a lot of documentation. We worked for a week on that reporting, so three times each year for a week, and a lot of preparations to have all the documentations, to have all the invoices, all the counter offers, everything like that. And there were also always some complications. So it was quite a lot of work for a small company, for example, 1 or 2 employed, to be in the middle of the research and development activities and in marketing your product. You have to put aside a week or 2 to communicate with the officials, to go through all the documentations and prepare everything. For my case, I was quite fluent with the bureaucratic process, so it was not such a problem to do, but I heard from a lot of other companies in that time that it was really bad, and some of them also, did those activities and didn't do the reporting on time, didn't do the reporting right, or kind of gave up in the middle of that. And it was a great loss because they didn't get the money in the end. So as said, now the simplified reporting is one of the best as I've seen on that kind of projects with public funds behind it. And I think the main mentorship program with qualified and certified mentors works great. It's a bit subjective, but I think it works. Also, downsides on this tender is a rigorous application process. So the application starts like 2 months before or 3 months before the deadline, and it's you have like a roadmap of events where you go, and then you have like one month before the deadline, you have to kind of pitch your idea to a board of mentors and businessmen that are into that system, and that's a great experience. But if you already have a company and you are already working, developing, it's a lot of work again. You have like 2-3 months of preparations for the pitch, and then the deadline, and working with documentation and going onto the workshops for that, because of course you don't want to miss a thing. And it's quite a rigorous application process, as said, and takes a lot of time. And the next one is because that mentorship scheme is also incorporated into that application process. So all those mentors that you can work later on are your board on application. They kind of give you when you have your pitch, you pitch to them. So they say if your product, if your idea is okay or not. And that part is around, I think, more than a third of your all points that you can get on that project. And as I have seen in the past few years, it's a very subjective assessment from those mentors. So those are the guys, businessmen and mentors that are kind of have their own rules, when the pitch is live, and there are some rules, for example, mentors or those on the board shouldn't kind of give their own subjective points about what they think about the pitch. They don't care about that. They kind of, when they ask questions, they say, oh no, your idea is not okay, and that kind of gives the whole board kind of a movement towards giving you a low point. And I've heard from some of my friends that, in my opinion, had a great idea, great project for that tender, but they kind of fell on that assessment because one of the board business guys there said it's not a good idea. But maybe he was from a totally another industry and didn't maybe understand it. So it's a subjective assessment, and in the end, you work a lot, you put a lot of energy and capital in that process. So that's maybe a downside. Let me see if I had something else. So on this P2 tender, there are also some other possibilities to go from here on. Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund has this P2 tender is a beginning stage. The next stage is another tender that is called SK75. 75, I don't know why SK, but 75, because you get 75,000 euros of money, 100% financed for research and development and marketing activities. When you apply to that tender, you already have to have your product on the market. You already have to have some sales. It has to be, the market has to confirm that this product is okay, as said in our kind of entrepreneurial language. But this tender is organized that the Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund gets it's a loan. So the one possibility is that this tender is a loan. So you have to give the money back after you start paying back after 5 years. Or the second option that is preferable for them is that you look for an investor, and after the investor gets into the company, the Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund gets his equity share for that 75. So you don't have to give it back, but you have to pay the Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund in some other way. So in equity shares, for example, if the company is assessed at that point of investor entering at, I don't know what, some number, the Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund gets his equity share relying on that number. So for example, 75,000 they give you, maybe they take for example 10% of the company at that time when the investor gets in. If you cannot get the investor in that time of 5 years, you have to start paying back the money. So this is another tender, and as far as I heard, they are planning to close this one, because in the past 2 years ago, they opened another tender, which is also great, working startups with mentorship business system that Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund and startup ecosystem in Slovenia started building up. It's like a tender for investors plus Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund investing together. For example, Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund gives you an option to apply for 200 to 600,000 euros of money for marketing and research and development activities. But the condition is that you have to get an investor with the same amount of investment. So for example, if Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund gives you 200,000 euros, the investor has to give you the same amount, and the equity share the Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund gets is the same as the investor gets. For example, each of them get 20% for 200,000 euros. It's great because it's simplified. So Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund, you don't have to go through that rigorous application process, giving them the proof that your product is worth investing in. But as far as the credible investor from their system approved from them is investing in you, they say we will also invest in you because we see that some investor with a lot of knowledge, experience that area finds your company worth investing in. That means also we will find it worth investing in. So these are like 3 tenders for startups in Slovenia, and also Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund, as I said before, in 2 years ago, last year, developed a voucher system that was the funds tenders of small amounts, so from 1,000 up to 10,000, 15,000 euros, and it was simplified bureaucratic process. It was not a lot of documentation, and as far as you kind of give them the report that everything was done, they check the product, or digital activities, digital marketing activities, if your new website was on, if your new e-commerce shop was on, if your campaign was on, if you did a marketing research and you had like a marketing research done and you send them to them, they finance the 60% of the total cost of that project. So I think the best thing about this, it was simplified application and simplified reporting all through the cloud-based application of Slovenian Entrepreneurial Fund. It's like a portal, and that's about it from my point of view. What we as a startup and maybe some my partner companies and my companies I'm working with used in that area of public funds meant for startups and small and medium enterprises in Slovenia. So I think that's about in half an hour. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.